Last part, we received information that the Borg Kingdom of the Mirror Universe had made an incursion into Fluidic Space. This cannot stand unopposed, as from this realm they can travel into other realities more easily, as this space is outside of linear spacetime. Arriving with the Rescava, the USS Inouye and Aventine, we drove off some Borg probes and unexpectedly allied with Species 8472 in driving out this incursion into their space. The Undine are far more able to navigate this place than we are, and as such our new guide takes us to the site of the battle. The Kingdom has already ported through a Unicomplex, and the Undine's attempts to close this rift so far have been fruitless.
Undine forces are under attack. We must provide immediate assistance.
We are prepared to assist, however the others are aware we're here to help, right?
They are. You are as Undine in their minds until further notice. Now, make ready for battle. Our enemy awaits.
Okay, all hands, battle stations.
Watch out for the spheres. They may try to ram your ship and self-destruct.
The Undine weapons are fascinating.
Fascinating and terrifying. Glad they're not shooting at us this time.
Yes, the Undine bioships possess technology capable of annihilating a Borg cube, at least one of 30 years ago. The fact that they're having issue with this kingdom is troubling, but we've driven them off before. True enough to Captain Dax's predictions, the spheres will indeed attempt to ram us if they are left on low health for too long, so finishing them off quickly is paramount. Destroying the initial Borg force, we free up several more Nikor battleships and a Vila class. The Nikor is the standard ship that Voyager first encountered and named for a water monster akin to a Nyx. The Tethys class is named for the Greek titan of the same name who was related to oceans and river gods, and the Vila is a nymph-like fairy of 3 aspects, one of which is water. Twin Borg assimilators block our path and we engage these mighty vessels. Seemingly unique to the Borg Kingdom, these assimilators specialise in taking out vessels by capturing them and using their specialty tools to dissect and assimilate the technology of a ship while transferring the crew for further assimilation. While terrifying, the Alliance has actually decided to try to capture one of these craft to study it, because they think they can change the design into a ship designed to capture and destroy a vessel while sparing the crew, which makes a dark sort of sense. Instead of assimilation, just strip out those facilities and outfit them with a brig, and you've got a vessel made to separate the people from the weapon. Closing in on the hub of the battle, we can see the looming geometry of the Unicomplex emerging from the murk, and already it's larger than the aperture, suggesting that they're expanding their facility. I've always wanted to fight a giant skybeam portal thingy like in the movies, so I can tick this one off my bucket list.
Well done, but we have a greater concern at hand.
Yes, I can see it.
We need to destroy the Borg Unicomplex, but our weapons are having little to no effect against its shields.
Right, well that's not good considering how powerful the Undines are, but it explains why the complex is so large. Clearly the Kingdom was prepared for this.
I believe I have a solution, but it's a risky one.
I feel like they all are.
The Aventine was designed to fight Borg. There are a number of anti-Borg systems on board, including a quantum field focus phaser. Properly recalibrated, we could use it to create a brief transporter window through their shields.
Right, good idea. So we beam in a load of transphasic torpedoes.
Once we've opened the window, we'll beam away teams over to the Unicomplex. They'll find and disable the shielding around the Unicomplex, leaving it vulnerable to attack.
Fine. I suppose we don't know where we'd be beaming them, so we'd have to find it. It is risky, you're right.
A warning. The Unicomplex has considerable defense systems and a fleet protecting it. We will need to eliminate all defenses and enemy vessels before you can safely lower your shields and use transporters.
Okay, so we need to make an opening to make an opening.
Right. Moving into range now. Clear the local defense nodes and watch out for reinforcements.
We're on it. Work fast, Captain.
Moving to defend the Aventine. Good luck, Ezri.
Hard to believe the Undine can't put a dent in the Unicomplex.
If there's one thing the Borg excel at, it's adaptation.
Even to a weapon like the Undine Planet Killer. How terrifying!
The Unicomplex itself is armed with many cutting beams, torpedo launchers, and tractor beam emitters, all standards for the Borg, and flying within range of multiple of these is, well, it's a bad idea. It's best to target as we go, focusing each emitter at a time before entering range of the others. But of course we cannot neglect the spheres either. Our allies can whittle them down easily enough, but should they fail to neutralise them quickly, we may find ourselves on the receiving end of an exploding sphere. While we were focusing on disarming the station, it appears the Undine have already taken out the giant assimilator, so that's one less thing for us to deal with. At one point, however, we don't destroy a sphere quickly enough and it detonates against the armature, severely compromising the hull. Repair teams and structural integrity fields compensate, but it's a reminder of how quickly things can turn. Fortunately, we've learnt our lesson and won't be doing that again. Cool. Everything's flickering. That's not good. Working our way across the surface of the expansive complex, we are shot at, blasted and grappled repeatedly. Unhand me!
Reading no hostile vessels on sensors.
For now, but it's only a matter of time before the complex deploys more.
Okay, it's now or never. Let's beam away teams to the following coordinates on board the Unicomplex before the transport window collapses.
We made it. Now the real work begins.
Beaming over, the environment is similar to the Borg locations we've visited before, however it's bathed in an eerie red that the Kingdom tech gives off. Dax has operational lead here, so we defer to her experience. What's the plan?
2 hazard teams, designations Alpha and Beta. Alpha's job is to take down the Unicomplex shield systems, while Beta will shut down the weapons and tactical arrays. If we're lucky, we'll be able to get the job done without firing a shot.
That would go counter to how today's been panning out. Go on then, please elaborate how we would accomplish this.
I'll provide each team with some Starfleet gear designed to mask our life signs. None of us will show up on Borg sensors. We should be able to reach our destinations before they can detect us and scramble security teams. Once we've finished, we'll evac to our respective ships and regroup with the Undine forces.
So, we should be masked from the Borg.
You know, this could be a golden opportunity to collect intel on these guys.
Keep it to surface level intrusion. Too much digging around could draw unwanted attention.
Agreed. We can look into files they've already got accessed, but no snooping or trying to bypass their lockouts. The first console we come across has some open files on it. It looks like relatively recent history.
Initial battle with ISS Voyager was inconclusive. Borg casualties, 100%. Terran vessel eluded capture. Priority alert issued. Initiate sector-wide hunt for ISS Voyager.
So the Borg Kingdom ran into the mirror version of Voyager. Sounds like their Captain Janeway made them regret that. Can't say I feel sorry about it.
Hey, there's 3 ways of dealing with the Borg. The right way, the wrong way, and the Janeway. As a reminder, we've met Mirror Janeway, the Marshall, as she was known, and during her time in the Delta Quadrant, she was basically a plunderer and pirate queen. We can learn a lot about her encounters with the Borg on this mission.
Ezri, are you certain we'll remain undetected?
The gear worked well in simulations.
Wait, this is experimental tech?
Ah, let's hope this plan survives contact with the enemy then.
Well, normally Borg ignore you if you're not a threat, but the Kingdom seems ever more hostile to intrusion. We find a second console and access that.
Efforts to track and capture ISS Voyager. Successful. Borg casualties, 23%. 98% of Terran crew assimilated during combat. Directive. Conduct detailed evaluation of Captain Kathryn Janeway. Objective. Determine tactics and command ability necessary to defeat and evade Borg forces. Assimilation is not approved.
My God. Things were a lot worse for the Mirror Voyager and her crew. 98% assimilation. Studying their Janeway like a lab rat to learn how to think and fight like her. Strange they didn't do that by assimilating her, though. I suppose they wanted the pure, authentic data, unfiltered by algorithms and cybernetic interfaces.
So that would have been around 2372 Mirror Universe. After Janeway initially learned of the Borg from a found Annika Hansen, she turned her attention to getting their advanced tech and was successful initially. However, they eventually responded by capturing Voyager, assimilating 98% of the crew but sparing her for study to learn how she had succeeded through observation, something that differs from our Borg's MO. As we have met Janeway, we know that she came away from this encounter with Borg technology and even adapted herself with implants to make her own mini-collective.
So far, so good. The drones can't detect us. Dax to Beta Team. Report.
We're almost to weapon control, Captain.
Good work, Commander. Proceed. Update me if anything changes. Dax out.
We find a third console.
Using adapted Borg technology, Janeway took command of assimilated ISS Voyager crew. Janeway and her drones escaped from Unicomplex 3 on board ISS Voyager and fled into the transwarp network.
That lines up with what we know.
To evade pursuit, Janeway detonated an array of transphasic torpedoes within the network. Borg casualties, 100%, including Borg King. Creation of new body for King is authorized. Explosion created a trans-dimensional breach, exposing the Borg Kingdom to multiple alternate dimensions.
Do you think that transphasic explosion was what exposed the Borg to the Etherians? Could the escape of Mirror Voyager have been the first shot of the war we're caught up in?
So, she bided her time amid assimilated crew on a captured ISS Voyager until she devised a way to make herself a queen of a localized collective, her own crew. She brought them under her will, and using this hive mind, broke out of Unicomplex 3, collapsing the transwarp tunnels behind her and eliminating the pursuing Borg. This must be how Mirror Janeway returned home to the Terran Empire and earned the position of Marshal, with herself now in full control of the ISS Voyager and its enslaved crew. Something very fitting about a pirate queen on a cursed vessel of the damned that responds to her will. Nevertheless, it was her actions that created the first multiversal breaches when she collapsed their networks, giving the Borg access to ulterior dimensions.
I don't believe those drones are passive!
Beta Team to Dax. We're under attack. The Borg found us.
So much for experimental tactics.
Defend yourselves, and be prepared to remodulate weapons.
Understood, Captain. Beta Team out.
Oh, great. Well, it got us part of the way here before they noticed us. I guess they literally just, saw us, and it just took a while to relay that information. As a reminder, the Kingdom drones differ as they are not only stockier in frame, akin to Borg of the 24th century, but their tactics differ slightly too.
Dax to Beta Team. Status report, please.
Weapon control is secure, but the Borg captured Tanaka.
Hang in there, Commander. We'll rescue him if we can. Fortify your position if possible. Weld the doors shut if you have to. Alpha will reinforce you once we've taken out the shields.
Copy that, Captain. Beta Team out.
We locate a fourth Borg console.
Negotiations with Terran Empress Lita and Marshall Kathryn Janeway failed, despite the threat posed by the Etherian Concordium to both the Borg Kingdom and the Terran Empire. Assessment. Terrans will let our conflict with the Etherians continue until both forces are vulnerable to conquest.
Yeah, that sounds like Lita.
Incredible! The Borg were so desperate, they tried to forge an alliance with the Terrans. They negotiated with Janeway, one of their worst enemies. I have a feeling the Borg will resort to desperate measures to survive. Desperate and very dangerous measures. We need to stop this before they go scorched earth on us.
Well, we know how desperate the Borg can get. Remember when they took over all the under-25s in the Sol system? Wait, did that happen here, or am I mixing timelines again? Temporal agent, I sometimes get confused. Back to what we heard, though. The Borg Kingdom began to enter the Etherians' universe and set about assimilating their Concordium, but the war dragged on longer than they anticipated. If we're assuming Marshall Janeway escaped around the time of our Voyager's return, that would mean that activities in the Etherium universe spanned around 33 years to now. The Borg and the Terran Empire met with the intent to ally against the Etherians. Eventually, the Kingdom dispatched a cube to meet with Empress Lita and Marshall Janeway to discuss their planned alliance, but they were rebuffed. Proceeding through the cube, we find a shielded door through which we can see energy that looks a lot like that of the beams.
That's the energy beam the Borg are firing into the vortex. Our initial scans of it weren't conclusive. It appears to be causing a tremendous level of fluctuation within the vortex core.
Okay, is that on purpose? An accident? What's it for?
Good question. I'm willing to bet it's nothing good.
I mean, yeah, but we need to know.
Right. There should be a control console somewhere in the chamber ahead. If we can find it, we might be able to learn more about the beam and its purpose. Maybe even shut it down.
Alright, we just need to find some way to get through this door. Start looking for a way oh. The cavernous chamber is similar to the ones we've seen before on our Borg cubes, but one thing might be of advantage here is that we can see enemy drones coming. Looks like we can navigate across and maybe find a control panel. If we're very lucky, maybe it's even controlled from here. Speaking of drones, we encounter a force that's clearly here to intercept us, and this happens several times as we cross this yawning chasm. Amid the ranks of the mirror drones, we have those that attempt to detonate in our midst, as well as vinculums mounted overhead that regenerate them, reanimating them to attack again. The battle through this chamber is a long one, punctuated by periods of silence as more drones slowly ambulate in our direction. Occasionally a single one will appear behind us, either reanimated from a missed vinculum, beamed in, or just one that lost its main host. But it means we are constantly on the lookout, swiveling around for encounters.
That console might have data on that beam. Let's check it out.
We'll have to deal with those drones first.
What were you able to find?
A bunch of circles and squiggly lines.
I was afraid of something like this.
Sorry, what have you seen?
It looks like the Borg are trying to modulate the vortex, control it. From what I can tell, they're trying to expand it in size. Considerably.
I mean, that makes sense. Bigger portal, more forces they can send through at once. It's a problem, but is it unexpected?
It gets worse. From what I know about Undine technology, if they fire one of those planet killer beams at the Unicomplex while this beam is active, it could cause an explosion that makes a matter-antimatter reaction look tame. We need to shut this thing down before the Undine get trigger-happy, or they could destroy most of Fluidic Space, and us with it.
Well, shit. This the off switch?
No, unfortunately. I think I've located the console that will shut it down nearby, though.
Right. That's our next objective. I'm also guessing we can't contact the Undine to say don't fire just yet. We have several more skirmishes to get through, and remember to remodulate our weapons in the downtime. Minimises the time we have to do it in combat, but these Etherian algorithms are working more than our own, it seems. The Borg are taking longer to adapt. After crossing the energy beam chamber, we enter back into the tube-lined hallway of the complex and meet many a group of active Borg and lots of troublesome vinculums. The battle through here is longer and strips us of our ranged advantage from earlier, with less room to move except to fall back when needed. What ensues is minutes of advancing, retreating, then crawling forwards again until the next encounter, sometimes not even quickly enough to disable the regenerating nodes.
I believe the door to shield control is just ahead.
They're probably on lockdown by now.
You're not wrong. Cover me. I'll override the controls.
Covering you implies there's going to be...
That didn't take long. Multiple drones are closing in.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, at least they're consistent. Doors open. We're in business.
Unfortunately, before we can advance, we need to secure this hallway which is filled with infinite drones and numerous repairing vinculums. It takes longer than I would have liked, but eventually all is quiet and we can proceed. We make our way back to the door, Dax unlocked, which is further than I thought. Looks like we backpedaled quite the distance.
Take out that drone, the dendritic one.
Dendritic, as in tree-like. What? Does she mean the one with the vinculum? There's a lot of them. Shoot them all. Blast them all. Oh, this guy. Yeah, he's big and has a vinculum strapped to him, as well as some form of Gatling disruptor. Yeah, this one's a problem, and he needs to go before he revives the rest. And after he drops, we rip out his repair unit. Done. Now we can mop up with the rest. This is where I make a mistake, and while trying to pick something up, I dismiss Dax's dialogue, so we miss it.
Captain Dax, this is Beta Team. Weapon control is secure.
So now I need to know what was said, and we're already over an hour into this mission. The sane thing to do would be just to carry on and forget about it. Not restart the entire mission to get that one message in full. No, that would be insane, and only a crazy person would do that.
Room's clear. Time to get to work. While your squad takes down the shields, the rest of us will try to deal with that beam control console nearby. Join us in the control room once you've finished here. We might be getting a lot of company soon. Of the Borg variety.
Understood. We'll be quick, and we'll have that shield down in no time. Good luck, Captain.
Captain Dax, this is Beta Team. Weapon control is secure.
Well done, Commander. Proceed with your mission. Shields will be down shortly. Dax out.
We have 6 of these consoles to deactivate in any order, but tampering with them will take some time. They're scattered all around the room, and with the Borg possibly incoming, we cannot tarry. So we split up to cover more ground. Okay. I've got this one. Move on. Met. Bizarre. Oh! No.